out of.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Consciousness with your luscious hostess, May Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time.
Hello, everyone. This is May. I have an amazing show coming up for you. This is such a powerful conversation that we're about to have together. It makes me so happy, so excited. Already, I want to cry because of the topic and what's going to transpire today. So the topic of the show is I want more sex, and I have with me 4 amazing gentlemen, men, who will share their stories and their current journey in life around this wanting more sex with their partner, or in life, actually. And this is not a men issue. This is not a female issue. This is a humanity issue. Like, we all, for some reason, when we partner up in pairs with another person, there's always going to be a point in our life where the desire is lopsided. You know, one side would want more. And in preparing for this call, I invited both men and women to have this conversation with me. And for some reason, the woman couldn't be here today. So I only have men, but I wanted to just, which I really, really love, because I wanted to create a container for the men to get to say their side of the story, to get to hear, to get to be witnessed, to get to be loved for their desire and not made wrong and not be shamed for it, because I think what men want is really healthy. So that's the case, and I'm sure this will stir up some stuff, and I might do another show where we'll have all female panel and see what it's like to be female, be the woman in the relationship and wanting more sex from our partner. So anyway, both sides will get a chance to play with it. So today I have with me Doug in New York, Ken in New York, and also a brand new fan. This is so exciting for me to have a fan to call in and be part of the conversation. I've been wanting this for over a year now, and it's finally happening. So I have Darren from South Africa. He's joining us via Skype, so his sound may or may not be good. Just forgive us. This is the environment of working on the Internet. So welcome to the show, everyone. Come on in and say hi.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
This is Doug.
And I also
Ken.
want you to know that Johan from Canada will join us, but he may be a few minutes late. So when he gets here, I'll introduce him. So let's try that again. This time I'll just make space for you guys and just say your name, and also let the audience know, like a little bit of your stats, you know, like how old are you in a relationship, are you married, are you with a partner, whatever, and a short, brief thing about where you are around this, with this topic, okay? So let's start with Ken.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ken. I'm from New York City. I'm in my mid-50s. I just turned 56, actually, so I'll be completely precise about that. And what I want to talk about a lot today is sort of my journey with this. It's not so much where I am right now, but this was thinking about this, you know, in thinking about being on the show, and just how much energy and thought and books and counseling and all kinds of things I've kind of applied to this kind of question, you know, about how to have more sex, how to be more sexual, how to sexually with women better, how to be a better lover. You know, the theory is if I'm a better lover, they'll want more sex. You know, just all of this. This is a big topic, and right now I'm currently not in a relationship, but I have a lover.
That's new. I didn't know that.
Nice.
we may have to hear about that. Thank you,
Well,
Ken.
yeah.
Sure.
Ken, good for you.
Thanks.
Why don't you go next, Doug? Doug, go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself and what your situation looks like. Oops. So we lost Doug. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Doug, and I'm 70 years old. I look younger and I feel younger. I have to say that because I'm very uncomfortable about being 70. So I want to get that out there right away, so you don't feel any unnecessary tension from me that I'm not mentioning. So that bothers me. But that's another subject for another show. I have
Wait, hang on a second, honey. If somebody's moving papers around or doing something, it makes a really loud noise like that. So you need to just sit still. Okay. Go ahead, Doug.
Thank you. I'm married, and I've been married for 29 years, and my wife and I decided to have a family late. And that's because I'm actually 11 years older than my wife. So that's really, I guess, more my decision than my wife's decision. But I have two children, 24, two boys, two young men, 24, working out of college, and a young lad who's 20, going to college and now doing a semester abroad in London. I also live in New York.
Tell us about the part where you want more sex. How does that play out in your relationship with your wife?
I feel that I've never really been satisfied with my sexual relationship, and this is not just in my marriage, but in most of my sexual experiences it's not that they've been bad, they've been unfulfilling. I've always sensed that there's more to be had from them, and then when I was introduced to some sexual practice called oming with another group, I started improving my sexual responsiveness, and I became more in touch with my desire, and my sexual life started improving.
Great, thank you. All right, we'll pause there, and let's bring in Darren. Go ahead, Darren. Oh, did I lose him? Let me check. Where did he go? Oh, I think he got dropped. So he's calling in from Skype, so it's always so challenging to stay connected. Anyway, so already I could just feel the opening of this conversation, like wanting more for our relationship and never been satisfied, and just feeling like there's more to be had and more to be had. And Johan, did you just join us? I need you to be on the phone. Sorry. I have another person calling in, and he's on a different device. The trick about running the show from the internet is just wild and crazy. Okay, here we go. All right, so there. Johan, is that you?
Yes.
Yay! Come on in, honey. So we're just introducing each other, and basically the men have been sharing, just a little bit about their age, their relationship status, and where they are in relationship to this conversation of I want more sex. How does that play out in your life or relationship? You want to
I'm married, and what was the second question? How does that play out in my life?
Yeah.
This is a not so easy question to answer. So there is something of not enough, yes, and there is also the realization of is it okay? So it's deeper than that. Yes, on the surface of it, it's not enough. There's certainly that, and it's, I think, a much more multi-layered question. And the part that leads to frustration, if you want, is the part where it's difficult to have a good conversation about even this topic. As you so rightly said in your mail, you've been branded a sex fiend or something like that. So that's where I am.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's so tricky. You start talking about this, and immediately you get labeled for either you're a sex fiend or some kind of pathology. What's my other one? My favorite word that people throw around, like, what is that phrase for wanting so much sex that you can't control yourself? I don't know. Anyway.
Nymphomania?
Yeah,
is that it?
Too. That's specifically lovingly give to woman when you say that, right? Right? Or like they would think that you have a sexual problem. It's like you can't keep your dick in your pants or something. It's just so crazy that we go to pathology so quickly around this. Oh, yay. I think Darren is back. Darren, go ahead, honey. Introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about where you are in your situation around this topic.
Okay, well, I'm in South Africa, really far away. But the problems are the same down here.
Welcome to the club.
How old are you?
I'm 30 years old. I've been married for 2 years, and I've been with my wife for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so plenty of learning happening and plenty still to come.
Yeah. And would you, or anybody, could you guys share just a snippet of what that conversation may sound like, or what was your latest effort of saying, hey, honey, I want to have more sex, or what do you think about having more sex, or, what was your latest conversation sound like?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so it's actually changed quite a lot in the last few years, and it used to be something that it wasn't talked about. It was held back, and it was almost like ammunition that was saved. Like when we got into a situation and things got ugly and there'd be a problem, it generally would lead to me feeling unsatisfied and not feeling fulfilled. And I would hold on to that, and it became a bit of a resentment thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, as I said, it was ammunition. And it was pretty much my only problem, really. It always came down to that.
And how do you use ammunition? Do you use it against her, or is she use it against you, or both sides are going at it together? How do you use that as ammunition?
No, I think it would be being someone that is very affectionate and physically, that's how I feel love. That would be my lack. I would say I don't feel love because of that. So that is where I feel a lack. And that's what it's really all about, is about making sure your partner feels loved and feels important. And with that being below what my expectations were, I felt unloved and unappreciated and unimportant. Like my desires and my needs weren't important.
Oh, this is so beautiful. So it hooks together so quickly. Like you don't get enough sex. It sounds like to you it feels like you don't feel loved enough. And then when you ask for it, then it gets battered down or insulted or pushed away or whatever, resisted to, then it makes you feel unheard and unappreciated, and then more unloved. Is that right?
Totally. Yeah.
Totally could feel that. Do you guys feel that too?
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Something
I just I've been in relationships where, the woman is doing all the loving things, just appreciating me and cooking dinner and, all of these sort of nice things. We're having good times together, but this is a problem, and I end up not feeling loved, even with all the other loving things that she's doing, because there's not enough sex, or there's not sex at times. I end up feeling not loved, and I actually question, should I be in this relationship? Is this, very often I turn it against myself. Like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing to not turn her on? Am I not sexy enough? Am I doing the wrong things? Am I turning her off? There's a whole stream of conversation that goes on,
Oh, so for you, there's an additional. So not only do you not feel appreciated, but then you start to go into self-doubt,
yeah.
What's wrong with me that she's not wanting this, or how can I be better, and all this stuff, and then it erodes your confidence.
Yeah, and it's like a whole, I don't know, what a Rube Goldberg machine is, very complicated, lots of moving parts, because I grew up with my religious upbringing. I grew up that sex was bad to begin with, so then I'm bad for wanting it, and then the second thing that I'm bad at is, how to get it. So, and I shouldn't even be doing it anyway. So it's really, the deck is a little stacked against me. Or that's how it felt,
It's like a big toilet bowl that flushes really fast. It's like,
exactly.
Oh, man, you are so doomed. You're fucked.
Exactly. And I'm under there going like, but I want it. Why not?
You'll never be good enough to have it, and you're just not good enough to do it, and all this stuff.
Oh, I can't tell you how many years I spent trying to get better at it. I like a guy standing at a locked door with a ring full of keys, trying each key,
That's so challenging, isn't it? I think I always go back to this one experience that I had. I never quite understood what it's like to be a man until I was at a sex party and I played with a woman for the first time. And I got down there and I looked at this thing and I was like, oh my God, what do I do with this thing? And this thing doesn't have an obvious, hard-on to tell me that's on the right track. So I'm like, what do? I started sweating and panicking, and oh my God. And that's when I just started laughing in my head. I'm like, this is what it's like to be with a man. To be a man, this is so crazy. It's so challenging to be you guys.
Right.
And
women are taught to hold back and hide their desire too, right?
Right.
Isn't that part of it? Even if you are turned on.
Yeah, right. Because that cock, when it gets hard, it looks so threatening. So you got to kind of suppress that somehow too.
Right, but it's obvious. There's no mixed signals there.
Let's bring Johan in here, honey. You're sitting there with a big old grin on your face. What are you thinking about over there?
Well, I find it interesting because I guess we're all experiencing this particular issue in a really individual way. It's like, for me, it's not so much what could I do differently, but there is something about, now I've been married for 22 years, so it's a while, but there is something, the experience is like an erosion process. So the it happened gradually. And without, even though, the way, even the work that I do is, I wasn't even aware of what happened for quite a number of years, in fact. And then we started talking about it and said, well, I would like a little more, quite frankly. The same happened on her part, even though initially not as much. There wasn't as much response to it. And then, it even though we talked about it, we were not able to do anything different. Or it's like it's seeming so challenging to get off the well-trodden path. Say it that way. And then I, went to the candy store, had some candy, and that didn't go down well, surprisingly enough.
That was code for something there. I just wanted to alert the audience. Johan just threw us some secret code there. It's up to you to decipher that yourself.
Yeah, having that candy you spoke about, May. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
So of course there's been the trust eroded, because my wife knows about it, and that now gets in the way. So it's a different setup, possibly than for you, Ken or Darren. So, and yet it's like I'm wondering. We are both aware, and we want. Both stated, we both want more. So there isn't, even there is alignment on it, and yet it seems so difficult to get out of the trodden path of actually not following through on these intentions. And I'm curious, how the hell do you get out of it?
I know, and there's something so tricky and difficult in here, which is to have better sex with each other, you have to have better communication. However, here's the paradox. You start talking about not having enough sex, wanting more sex, but not getting that gets you so far away from having more sex with each other. Somehow that actually pushes you away rather than bring you together. So it requires you to have a different conversation with each other around this, and not pick at this wound of not having enough sex and wanting more from each other. But we have to do something completely radically different to make that happen. To get out of that
is one of the things that I've discovered. I've actually, in a way, I've shut the topic down intentionally and said, okay, I will not bring this up and be overt about it, but rather. Let's not talk, rather do, or just be with, and that even at times is, not challenging, but stuff gets in the way, like the distrust stuff sometimes gets in the way, and then you have, at least my experience is, we have this, you fall back into the Stone Ages, and you have to dig yourself out of that in a matter. It's like the hurt is there, and of course that gets in the way. In my case.
Absolutely. So you have an extra. I don't know what do you call that? Extra layer of complexity. Or a bonus for your ride. A bonus for Johan. You add a little.
And yet even from before that, we were both aware of it, and both did not really address the issue. Yeah. There is a piece of unconsciousness. Yes, there is conscious piece of it, and yet at the same time there seems to be this unconscious part that kind of gets in the way that we don't know how to deal with.
Yep, totally get it. Love it. Doug, how about you, honey? What do you want to add from your side of the story to this conversation?
I have something in common with Johan in that I think my wife and I knew that things weren't the way we wanted them to be, and I think the reason we couldn't get out of that rut is because we were both too shy. We both didn't feel comfortable really making requests and being uninhibited and talking to one another. And most of the time that we had sex, it was really to come to completion, for her to come and for me to come, and it was that kind of act instead of one of intimacy and love and spending time and sharing in that way.
I'm grabbing my forehead again because I just feel the human pain of that too. It's like, so there's sex of like satisfying each other, making sure that she comes, I come, whatever, the mechanics of that, and then there's the the time and the intimacy and the surrendering into each other's arms. And you know, that stuff takes time and takes cultivation. You know, what happened in the kitchen could affect that in the bedroom, you know, 2 hours later. And we carry all that weight and all that with each other into the bedroom, and it's hard to surrender and let that go. So it's like we don't. So the best we get to is just mechanically get off and be done with it, right? And then roll over and go to sleep.
Yeah,
there's something to be said about the word shyness. Thanks for bringing that in. That is also there, absolutely.
Yeah, and thanks for picking that up. Which is, shyness is so. It's like, it's so hard to ask for these things that what we want, and we might even not know how to put words into what we want.
Yeah, and it isn't even just our partners. Like what happened in the kitchen. Like I had a girlfriend who she and I were very sexual, and she needed to look for a job, and this whole thing took 6 months, and it completely wiped her sex drive out. You know.
Wow.
So it's something came in completely from outside that wiped it out too. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of factors.
Darren, let's bring you into. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Darren.
It's okay.
Oh, Darren, let's bring you into here too. And what? Add your side to this, honey.
He's left the group chat.
Oh, he probably got dropped again. I called him in the wrong time. Go ahead, Johan. You were in the middle of saying something.
It's like there is that, again, I don't want to harp on it, that piece of shyness around it, but also circumstance sometimes. It's like, you know, I'm finding that with family in the house and so on, sometimes things are not so opportune, and then you know, at the end of the day, when you're in your room and the light is out and you know everybody is kind of asleep, then you can get at it. That's not the most conducive to happenings. Let's say it this way. At least my experience.
Yeah. That's not the best time for me to have sex either. I'd rather do it right in the middle of the afternoon. You know, that's really hard to get to.
Lunch hours are really good.
What was that you said?
I said I'm a morning person. I mean, by the time you get me into bed at night, I'm ready to go to sleep. You know, I just spent my energy during the day.
Yeah.
God, it's a wonder we have sex at all.
I know, right? And I don't know what it's like for other women, but for me, in the morning, it's not that great because I'm not fully awake yet. So I'm not all fired up and all engine, you know, even though I have a hot coffee. Usually my partner wake up with a hot thing going. But it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'm not fully aroused yet. So it takes a little time getting there. So
yeah, my lover and I have that. I wake up in the morning ready to go, and she's just not a morning person. So we lose a lot. There's a lot of opportunity that gets lost there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Definitely.
Well, but you know, but there is something about, you know, being respectful too. It's like, so how do you deal with different timings? So if the evening doesn't work or often doesn't work, and the mornings often, you know, at least for one side of the equation doesn't work, it's like how the hell are you going to make it happen? So it's like there is something about how do you do this consciously sometimes, and that's kind of the killer in the game. It's like now we have scheduled an appointment. Doesn't work. At least my experience.
Right. But then at the same time, you know, I always equate it to, you know, a hot romantic movie where, you know, things really go from dinner all the way to the morning after, right? Hey, man, to make something like that happen, it takes a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of scheduling, a whole bunch of choreographing, a whole bunch of, you know, take, and all this stuff to make it happen. And yet in relationship, we don't want, or we're too lazy or don't want to take that much energy to plan and build around it. And, you know, so it doesn't happen. It doesn't go as smooth and as yummy as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yep. it's kind of like
the logistics sometimes are really quite daunting.
Yeah, right.
They are, definitely. But that can be rewarding too, you know.
Doug, you look like you're working on something. Did you want to add something, Doug?
Oh, I was thinking that in my, you know, there's a phenomenon that we all like, that the newspapers and the talk shows always like publicizing, that have to do with, you know, divorce rates and marriages not working out, and partners going and seeking sexual satisfaction elsewhere, or wanting that feeling of romance and eroticism. And I know that it's not just political figures and celebrities. I mean, it happened to me. That for some reason, I wasn't feeling satisfied in my relationship. I didn't feel I could get the sex and eroticism and intimacy and fulfillment at home. And so I wound up, innocently enough, I thought, about 10 years ago, going into a lap dance club with some businessmen. I was on a business trip. And I wound up closing the place and spending $1,000 in one night because I was so horny. And I got home, and my wife says, when the bill came, "What is this $1,000 American Express bill?" And,
oh, that's so sweet.
And you know, I had to say, you know, I'm beside myself. We have to work. We have to work on this. We have to do something, because I don't want to be in that prototypical situation where we get along in so many ways. We're good friends, but we don't have a complete relationship because I'm not satisfied. I'm not getting what I want. So I remember that's sort of what started the discussion between my wife and me. Up to that point, we were busy raising children. We were busy drinking a lot. We were busy working hard and getting tired and going to sleep. And we were friends. We were good friends, but it was not a complete relationship.
Yeah. Darren is back.
Roommates.
So I'm going to bring him in. Darren, come on in, honey. What do you want to add to the conversation?
Just to note how universal these things are, and how it's almost like a standard that we're all going through similar things. And I mean, I lost you guys, and I missed a lot of it earlier, but I cannot.
Well, let me help you out. One other thing that Doug just talked about that made me think about this, that we haven't touched yet, was that there is.
I'm losing you.
It seems like there's a universal agreement between men and women, or whatever. I don't even know. But there's some agreement about suppression. Like I want to go back to the sex scene part. You know, if you want more sex, that's inappropriate, or that you should be, you know, you should suppress that. You should try so hard, or you shouldn't. You know, it just seems like there's a lot of, like, if you're a good husband, you have to suppress yourself and hold back and not pressure me around having more sex. Something crazy like that. Anyone?
Yeah, how does that get set up?
Yeah.
I mean, how does that...
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tim.
I just don't know. I mean, I have felt that. I definitely have felt like I end up being the pestering one, and it ends up, for me, feeling like she controls the relationship because she's the one who wants it less. And I know that somehow we both got down, and that's sort of a dead end. That's not the only place, but that's where it ends up so often, and it just really puzzles me. You know?
Yeah.
And the more I want it, the less she wants it. You know? So I hold all the desire in the relationship, so that she can hold almost nothing, and it's way out of balance. You know?
Yeah, and she. I don't want to make her wrong, but I've been that she before. You know, I've been in my previous marriage where, you know, my husband tiptoe around me, tried to really tiptoe. I mean, he did not get a chance to be really overt or anything like that. He was just more than gentle to keep inviting me to have more sex, and I'm just kind of like, no, maybe tomorrow. Well, I don't know. It hurts. I don't know. You know, all that stuff that like the like, and the job on the other side is equally hard. You know, like you guys want in, and I'm holding the gate, and it's like so there's this push against each other.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's not that she's to blame. It ends up in this dynamic where it seems like, you know, the gentler I am, the less she wants it. And then when I put myself in her shoes, it's always like all this unspoken desire feels really yucky and would turn me off, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so, that's so good. Right. And that speaks to the next piece, which is, the more he asks it, the more disgusting it feels to me. And then I have to tell you, this part was like the ultimate irony. And then I got to a place in my relationship where suddenly I just woke up and I wanted more sex. Well, I didn't even know I wanted more sex. I didn't have those vocabulary then. I just kind of like something, you know, was stirred up down there, you know, and I was just following that energy. But and then I met this guy, and he never said he wanted more sex with me. He'd just come and get it. He'd just like shove me up against the wall, kiss me, and just take it from me. And guess what? He got it, and there was so much more sex. And then my husband was like, "What the fuck? I was so nice to you. I was so polite to you. I treated you like, you know, a queen to get more sex, and you wouldn't give anything. And he's a jerk, and he just get it." And you know, and it was just so downhill from there.
Oh gosh, I think this is such a frustrating dynamic for men because the nice guys just hate that.
Finish last, baby.
Finish last.
Right.
I want to make space for good.
Think, you know,
go ahead, honey.
In my journey for this, I think part of it is that I need to own my desire. I need to really own it. Even if she doesn't like it, I need to own it. And I need to bring it.
And you need to oh my gosh, this is so weird because there's a very delicate line between take it and rape, right? I mean, we know this. Yeah.
And you know, there's the other side too. Like, you know, we've been made to sort of feel like rapists, or not made to, but there's that dynamic out there too. And there's such a fine line between the two that it's hard to negotiate.
You got to get good at just like making us want it. So now not only are you supposed to get good at, you know, working that vagina part, now you have to get good at working our mind and just like increase the heat, you know, make us want you. And it's a whole ball of game. You know, it's just so challenging.
It really is. It is really that piece. One of the quotes I've recently kind of stumbled across, and I think that speaks to that piece of truth. Is you got to own it, Ken, as you said. Life starts when fear ends. It's from Osho. And there is a damn piece of truth to it, and yet with the people that we love, and at least that's the truth on my part. It's like, how do you reignite that passion that was once there, for certain?
Yeah.
Right.
How do you get in there without being boxed in the drawer of sex fiend or whatever?
Right. There's a lot of coaching out there that says, you know, be gentle with her, be patient, listen to her, communicate, you know.
I'm here to tell you that stuff doesn't work.
well, and at the same time, I've often heard that, and I'm not wanting really to go there. Is like, so what happens if that relationship ends? Maybe both parties are too entrenched in their particular ways and don't know how to get out of it. What happens in the next relationship? And do you actually get it, or do you fall into the same hole?
I have an answer to that question.
Oh, really? You do? Hands up, huh? Okay.
I do. Because I have been using myself as an experiment. So I married this really great, gentle guy who loved me dearly, put me on a pedestal, and then I never knew about my sex. So you guys know the story of that just kind of fell apart. And then I met this other man. Well, I taught myself a whole bunch about my own sexuality. And then I met another man who I'm still with, and oh my gosh, I didn't realize this, but he was exactly identical to my ex-husband. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Fuck me. I thought I could escape by divorcing, running away, and find a new one, and it'll be better. No.
Oh, no.
That's right? So same personality. So now I have to change in order to make this relationship hot. And I realized that I have to do something to not kill this man like I killed the other man. Like I killed my ex-husband, didn't quite know how to support him in his manhood. I'm not taking the full responsibility. I'm taking 100% of my 50% of what happened between us, you know. So now with this man, I really have to pay attention on what I'm doing that demasculates him or what I'm doing that really brings his hotness out. I get that there's a responsibility on my shoulders that I need to do with men, any man who comes into my realm, you know, that I must be able to work with that so that they get hotter and hotter in front of me rather than getting more neutral and lukewarm in front of me. So,
darling, I hear you. And what happens if I say myself I can certainly work on that? What happens if the other 50% are actually not willing to play because they're either unconscious of themselves, not, quite frankly, not willing to even go there? And so, yeah, I can do lots of work, but if you don't get a response of something that could work.
Yeah, and maybe that person's not ready to match with you. Because, yeah, I did. You know, I gave myself 3 years, and I sampled 30-something men in 3 years, and I get what you're saying. Again, so there's a dance. It's not a black and white answer. It's both. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm just saying is that as a woman, I'm owning that I get how I be in the world, how I'm behaving in the world, will either bring out a man to make him hot or make him dull and lukewarm. So I need to work on that. And the same thing for men. You guys have to learn that how you be in the world will make the woman hot, sexy, juicy, or will neutralize them down.
That's true.
But we do. Yeah.
I mean, Johan brings out a really important point, I think. That to really do this, you have to be willing to risk the relationship.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the hot part, is like, I'm strong enough in my sex, I'm strong enough in who I am to bring my desire and to bring the fact that this might not work as a relationship if I fully own my desire.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that'll break it open, but it's a huge risk.
Yeah, it's good. Doug, you've been wanting to jump in, so come on in, honey.
My wife and I are at this point where we're starting to have a conversation, and I find that I've always known that there was a hot siren in there.
Yeah.
And I've been gently coaxing her. I've been owning my own sex, but instead of demanding it, I've been gently coaxing her to be a little bit more demonstrative, because I know that's there. I just know it's there. I feel it. I know it. And I just felt I have not been adequate or polished enough to coax her and be gentle enough with her to bring it out. So for me, in this relationship, owning my sex meant, how about really trying to understand and put my attention on my wife so she could feel comfortable and having fun. So, for instance, I'll just give you a couple of examples of what I'm experimenting with.
Okay.
One is that I said, I want you to say, fuck me, baby, fuck me, just fuck me. And she can say those words out loud. And by saying them, she started having fun with them. And then I started getting really excited. And so
you're all like big grin on your face.
That was just the way, of getting both of us turned on, and it was wonderful. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel more free, and she's starting to feel more free. And we're just at the beginning of this, so I don't really have that much to say, but it's a work in progress, and it feels comfortable. And it's only taken 29 years to get here.
Yay! 29 years and 70 years old. You rock. You're the biggest rock star there is, honey. Darren. Darren, come on in, honey.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, there were a few things there that I've also been learning a lot, and being the young guy, I mean, it's all pretty fresh to me. But what I'm realizing is that there's the loss of masculinity, and once we give the power over to them when they're the ones that are deciding whether it's happening or not, and we get stuck, and then we're trying to be the nice guy and coax it out, we're making it impossible for her to be turned on. For her to be turned on, she needs the man, she needs the masculine force. And we're being the complete opposite. We're going, I want more, and why aren't we getting more? And I'm whining, and I'm being a little boy. What she needs is this man with strength and confidence and power. And as you say, put the relationship on the line, and that's when stuff gets exciting.
Yeah, totally.
Amen.
And then, another came up.
Oh, he's about to say another something.
We do stuff, and then we wait for a result, and we look, and it's not working, and we get frustrated, and it looks, and we're like, oh well, I'm doing my bit, and they're not doing their bit. And what I've realized now is it's actually a long-term thing. I need to invest in tomorrow. What can I do today that will make her want to have sex with me tomorrow? Because it's not an instant thing. We are instant. We're a switch. Pull your top down, and I'm ready to go. But what I'm starting to feel is that they actually work differently. And we need to create an environment that is supportive of them and their needs. And that is a kind of drawn-out process, and we're talking a different language.
Yep, totally. I was so lucky to came across the world of bondage and dominance and submissiveness and all that good stuff, you know. That world is so misunderstood. I mean, I think there's so much there that they can bring into our regular, I call it vanilla relationships that really would help us. Like we have to understand the power exchange between men and women. So when there's power, then the other person can surrender. And when, you know, and so it makes it hot and juicy. When there isn't power there, it makes it really neutral. It makes it like a roommate. You know, you get things done, but it's just not hot and juicy, and nobody's getting enough sex. That's how it is.
Yeah, I think society does women, and one of the many injustices too is they don't teach them the power of submission. You know, like there's power in surrender, huge power.
Well,
you know,
because we didn't understand that. When we submit, that means we have the ultimate power. That lesson never was taught. It's just was taken away from us rather than really sit down and negotiate and say, listen, you have the power. You get to say yes or no and all that stuff. Now, if you relax, let go, I will step up and take you, you know, and trust me, it's a good ride. It's just like, oh, yes. Go ahead, Johan. You're working on something over there.
No, I'm just thinking of what you're saying. Is like it rings so true, and you know, I have to probably say that I probably haven't played on that field enough, of the field of really owning the masculinity. It's like, okay, and the scary part, as you said, Ken, is you got to be able to risk or willing to risk your the relationship.
Yeah.
And that's the part where probably I struggle. Is like, whoa, am I willing to risk it? Maybe that's where I'm chickening out, quite frankly, and not doing anyone a service.
Right. Yeah. And by not risking losing the relationship, you're actually losing the relationship. Back to your point about the erosion part. It's just, oh my God, such an erosion.
Yeah.
Even if you have to
I was thinking about that. It isn't even like risking the whole relationship. It's just risking that the relationship will be different, or risking that it'll change, or, you know, there's all kinds of little things that within the relationship to risk as well. Yeah.
Go ahead, Darren. You're wanting to say something?
What is it?
Blurt it out, man.
kind of caught him off guard because he was like, Skype was giving him trouble. Anyway, so let's. We have about 8 minutes left, so I want to sum up our point. Yes, go ahead, Darren. I wanted to sum up our point so that we don't lose it, which is how do we get more sex? Let's play there. So what are some advice? I think there was a bunch of little gems that we have tossed out. So how do we get more sex with each other?
Own my own sexuality, like own my desire.
Yep.
Inhabit it.
Yeah. Even if when you say it, it's really scary and you think it's going to wreck everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Instead of trying to just try and coddle her into stepping up.
Don't coddle her. It doesn't get you what you want. Yep.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
How about you? What's your takeaway or your advice?
My takeaway in my experience is when both people learn to tell the truth to one another, that's what opens the door.
Yep. Just tell the truth, even if it busts everything up and there's a moment or a long moment of really painful discomfort. It's okay. You will live through that.
If there's vulnerability and truth, that is so exciting to me. When my wife has shared an intimacy with me, and to her it could be almost like a throwaway line, and for me it's like I'm so thirsty, and I've taken that in, and it just lights me up because I feel that's intimacy, and we're connecting, and then it can begin there.
Yeah, and
I want to second that.
Doug also gave us a bonus on the side. I just didn't want to lose that one. Tell her to say dirty things to you. Give her something. One sentence. It's hard for us women to say dirty things because we've been trained not to so long. But if you give them one sentence, to practice, we will do that. Say, fuck me, bitch. That kind of thing. And make her do it. It's good. When you make your woman do something, it actually make them wet. So just a little secret there for you guys. Darren, how about you? What's your takeaway, or what advice do you want the audience to remember? Oh, I can't hear you. Your phone might something. Oh, hang on. Let's try it again. Okay, try it again, Darren.
It's effective. It has to come from within.
Say that again.
Sorry?
Say it again.
Yeah, no, we need to source our masculinity from within. I'm going to close this window. Because what we do is we put our power into our woman's hands, and we want her to make us feel powerful and strong. And when we're taking it from her, she's not getting what she needs from us. We need to source that masculinity and source that power from within ourselves.
That's so pretty. Yay! Source it within yourself. Don't put your power in your woman's hand, because it's really confused us, and we don't know what to do with it.
She doesn't want
way too much pressure on us, Yeah, and we can't open our legs up when we're holding, your power, your ego on our hands. We just can't.
Totally.
You gotta hold on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good thing to say. This conversation makes me so want to have a 3-day workshop where you each bring your wife to me, and we do a group workshop, and we just work on this power energy exchange and reignite your relationship with each other. That would be so much fun. I'll take you to a dungeon, show you how to use some of the tools, show you a little, suppression, a little, tie her down, a little, make her beg for things. It would be so good.
Oh, I'm getting excited.
This is so amazing. I never thought that this call would be here. To start out with, I want more sex, and it seems so daunting to of a human condition, and it feels like it polarized men and women, in the relationship. And yet here we are. We're I'm feeling really hopeful about the future, and hey, we got some stuff going on here. What about you?
One of the things that I'm keep losing that thought, but this thing about control and relinquishing control. In the work that I do is I notice how much women, and I'm really generalizing this, maybe due to the role, but there is this very strong control aspect, needing to be in control. And it's like it leaves the question with me: how do you literally invite someone to actually relinquish control? How do I invite my wife in this case to relinquish control? Because with this conversation, I certainly notice I give her too much of it. And the part is like, how do I actually invite her and saying, hey, play.
Yeah.
You know.
So it comes in very simple things, like simple action, like before you get home, you call her and said, I'll be home at 6. I'm going to draw you a bath. I expect you in that bath. I'll get dinner ready. The kids handle. I want to see you soften. Put on this robe that I just got for you. Done. I will not take anything else out of it, and then you just handle the rest. She will melt right in front of your eyes. And you don't even have to say anything. You don't have to negotiate anything. It just comes from really simple acts like that. And the best way to get us to surrender is you take kitchen duty away from us, the responsibility of cooking and food for the family, and have that part handled. We'll surrender, baby. It's so simple. But it's a start, Johan, and really try that.
That's so funny, May. That reminds me. That one girlfriend I had, that was my best trick for having sex. Doing the dishes. Seriously, every time I do the dishes, she gets so turned on.
Yeah, totally. I know.
No,
I'm serious. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that. Been there, done that, and yet it's like in this particular circumstances, you got a house full of other people, and they that's in the way. Just it's a circumstance,
right?
And that this is where you might have to deal with logistics, literally. And unfortunately, even though the older ones you could send them out, but the little one, sorry, that's not there yet, and it really is in the way. That's just the fact of
there's a reason that they're in control, and they need to feel safe. So they're creating a safe environment for themselves where they know that they're in control and they're safe and they're okay. And if we can take the role on as their protector and their powerful knight in shining armor that's going to make them feel safe, then they can relinquish control, and then they can trust and feel supported and safe. But they have to feel that power from us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you have to do unreasonable things. Like I think a lot of times circumstances do dictate so much about life, and we have to be unreasonable. We have to be kind of a little off, like that's unreasonable. How dare you say that? Like that kind of stuff gets us, it's shocking. And, I admit we're terrible at receiving. We make it really hard for you guys to take us, and then we bitch that you don't take us. So I apologize to all the women out there that made fun. We have to go. This is so hot and fun. Thank you so much for your participation and your honesty and authenticity and vulnerability. I really appreciate it, all of you, for being here. And John, thank you so much for raising this topic so that we can have this beautiful show today. And I want to invite all the listeners out there. You can be the next Darren. If you're working on something in your relationship, email me and get on the show, or not. You can just email me, and I'll create a show, a conversation out of that. So thank you again, everyone, and have a wonderful week.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for holding this conversation, though.
Is your marriage or relationship in crisis? Where one partner wants to expand into their sex and bring scary changes to the relationship, while the other partner is dug in, protective, and saying, no way in hell is this going to happen. May knows this place well, and she can help both sides. She is truly amazing. Learn more about her specialty, crisis coaching for couples and individuals, at sexliesandconsciousness.com.